Check, check. Ooh, let's comb the hair a little bit. I gotta be professional. We're doing a live stream, guys. Tuck in your shirts. We're doing a live stream. Okay, so I'm gonna wait for a few more people to show up, and we're gonna jump into today's topic, which is kind of insane how much hype is consistently around this one issue in the watch world, and it hasn't just been like a recent thing. We're gonna wait to get into the real meat and potatoes. I'm sipping on some coffee that I actually made here in the office. Gotta love burnt coffee. I actually do prefer burnt coffee. I like my coffee nice, smoky, and bitter. People's main complaints about Starbucks is that they burn their coffee beans, but I don't find anything wrong with that. We're going to go ahead and say hello to some of the viewers. Mostly harmless, certified T3 bot, Kevin Hawthorne from Lakeland, Florida. You guys probably already read the title of today's topic, White Dial Explorers. You type in Rolex Explorer White Dial, you will get some people talking about the Explorer 2s, because whenever you Google, White Dial Explorer, search engines are going to aggregate something that already exists, which is the Rolex Explorer 2 White Dial. Mac talks, beard looking crispy, also haircut and beard shape up today. Yep, dude, you got to do it sometimes. I don't have much hair left. I just exposed myself. I don't have much hair left, but the hair that I do have, I try to be a little bit groomed once in a while, maybe like once a month. Also, I trimmed up my mustache so that it's not like hanging over my lips, although I prefer the look of that. Carlos is here. Adabadu. Evening, happy Easter from Scotland. For all who celebrate, happy Easter, by the way. I'm a Jew, so I will not be partaking, but if anybody has any Cadbury cream eggs that they find at an Easter egg hunt and they want to send it to our P.O. box, Time Teller channel would love it, because guess what? I will eat all of those and I will not share them with anybody else. Okay, so to prove my point, if we go over here, okay, I just searched White Dial Explorer. We do see some Explorer 2s, but we see some renders of some White Dial, what seem to be Explorer. I guess nowadays people say Explorer 1, although technically that's not correct, because there's the Explorer and then the Explorer 2. But then some people are like, well, if there's an Explorer 2, then doesn't there have to be an Explorer 1? Whatever. What we're getting at is this is like a pretty common hype piece and prediction that is blasted every single year in the watch world. And to prove my point, I'm a huge fan of monochrome watches. I've worked with those guys. They're really, really cool. But this is from 2021. Rolex Predictions 2021, Rolex Explorer 1, 41 millimeters, and 36 millimeters polar dial. Okay. Now, if we go, we're just going down here. Everest bands, Rolex 2023 predictions, White Dial Explorer 1. And this year, I think Monochrome also put White Dial Explorer in their predictions this year. So pretty much every year, people are like recycling this prediction. And I'm trying to figure out what the big deal is about this. Sean Miller, certified T3 bot, is here. Johnny Patton is here. Briar Blue, certified T3 bot. Estrada Armory, certified T3 bot. So I've actually made a list for you guys about why, I guess 5 reasons why a White Dial Explorer would suck and isn't exciting at all. So if you don't mind, humor me a little bit. We're going to go ahead and tell the time. It is 1:30 p.m. Let's get down to business. I'm a little bit late for today's live stream. My bad. By the way, guys, people in the future, I guarantee you we're going to get a few thousand people watching this when it's not live, and I'm happy that you guys want to consume my content at all. We do live streams every Saturday, kind of first half of the day. I'll jump on here for a little while, and we will just, shoot the bleep I don't swear on this channel. But if you want to see a channel where I do swear, go check out Everything is Gay. That's my other channel. Everything is Gay. We're taking back that word, people. We got to have some fun. Anyway, 5 reasons a white dial Explorer would suck. Chat while I'm going over this. If you can wave to the people in the future, we love you. We see you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you have a snack or a cup of coffee and you're just kicking back. Okay. First reason. I'm sick of dial color hype, period. That's the first reason. I mean, we could just finish it here. But color dial hype, we should not be celebrating this from any watchmaker, especially Rolex. I mean, the number one complaint Rolex gets is that they just keep, they've made the same watches for 10 decades. Well, here's the thing. That may be true, and they've updated their roster a little bit here and there, but if you guys truly are upset that Rolex is making like the same watches, they've always like Submariners, Daytonas, blah 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 blah, OPs, then we should not be celebrating them if they do give us a dial color. Also, I think we're allowing them to rest on their laurels by just simply predicting dial colors at this point. If every prediction is just going over a specific dial color that Rolex might give us or might not give us, then that's kind of signaling to Rolex that that's all we really expect from them, and people are excited at just a dial color, and that's not really pushing them at all to give us anything truly different. So dial color hype, I was the same way when Omega and the Omega fanboys were doing victory laps over, the white dial Speedmaster. Didn't make sense to me. If you haven't seen that episode, check it out. It's one of my most recent episodes. There's been a million white dial Speedmasters, but I guess technically because this one isn't limited, it's like special. Stop patting companies on the back for doing what they're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to be only doing limited edition watches, Omega, but because you do limited edition watches 24/7, apparently when you give us something that isn't limited edition, we're supposed to like scream from the rooftops and praise God. No, that's screw you. And screw Rolex if all we're expecting from them is mere dial color. So that's the first reason. Dial color hype is stupid. Gonna read some comments before we go to the next one. Dr. Bob's Nightmare, Certified Teeth Rot, is waving. Jersey Dan, very cool name. Every year, same predictions, GMT and 41 mil, no more Pepsi and Batman. Keenan is here, love colored dials, mostly harmless, Certified Teeth Rot. Who's buying them? They suck. So I don't dislike dial colors. Obviously, a watch has to have some form of color, unless we're gonna argue that black is the absence of color. Like, I don't mind watches being offered with various colors. What I'm saying is we shouldn't really be celebrating and hyping up just a watch coming out in a specific color. I think that's a little silly. Okay, next reason. At least give us an interesting color. If you're gonna give us a color and say that that's your release for the year, at least do an interesting one, because let me put it this way. Rolex, all your watches are black. And some of your watches are white. Giving us yet another white watch isn't going to make me excited. I think for the Explorer series specifically, something a little bit more exploratory, a little bit more outdoorsy, something like maybe a nice matte olive drab, right? Like a matte green olive drab. I think that would look so cool. Within the Explorer series, because it's like, ooh, this is a field watch. You go outside. It's kind of tactical. So the second one is, the first, I'm sick of dial color hype. The second, if you're going to release a dial color, at least make it interesting. I'm saying olive drab. Okay. Next, Rolex has enough white dial watches, and if you want one with a similar case shape and similar presentation, just get a white Oyster Perpetual. I don't know why, like, if you want a white Explorer and there isn't one, just get an Oyster Perpetual and call it a day. Throw the Oyster Perpetual white dial on a NATO strap and tell yourself it's a white dial Explorer. Guess what? It'd be the same. Sorry. Okay, next. The Explorer 2 Polar is a better watch anyway. That's going to get some people's goat. But that is the hard truth. If you're looking for a white dial within the Explorer series, they already have one. And they've made a few various iterations of it. And it's called the Explorer 2 Polar. And it's the better option anyway, because you're getting 2 complications with it. And it's much, much more functional. E-Doc, this guy is funny as F with his opinions. Keep the Explorer black. Agree, white 39 is nice. That's what I'm saying. But if you're looking for a white Explorer without any complication, just get the OP. And if you want an Explorer with something within the Explorer series that's white, get the Explorer 2. And there's a few of them to choose from. You want an orange GMT hand? They have it. You want a 42 millimeter? They have it. You want a 40 millimeter? They have it. You want a red GMT hand? They have it. So there's some options there. You want a black dial? They have it. And yes, they have a white dial. The final piece on the list is that there are so many other cool things that they could do with this watch. And yes, I mentioned one being like an olive drab case, but also what about like a PVD coated black Explorer, right? So like black dial, but the case is now coated PVD, or a titanium Explorer. Those would be arguably much bigger changes that would actually excite me, and that I think we should actually build hype around. But, Federico just made an episode recently. I guess, I don't know if it was one of his Q&A episodes, but in the thumbnail I saw, and I think it was even the title, like White Dial Explorer. I don't know what his opinion was on the matter, but he's not the only one. I showed you, like, when we go here. I'm not putting Federico on blast. I consider him a friend. I'm just saying he's not the only person talking about this. I mean, people have been talking about this one right here is from 2021, but it's been I keep thinking, you remember that band Bare Naked Ladies? It's been round the east that you look at me, I'm sorry, yes I did, sorry. Anyway, it's been a long time coming. People have been talking about the White Dial Explorer. But arguably, much bigger changes would be like a PVD coated case. That would be awesome. A titanium Explorer. That would be awesome. Or let's say you want Rolex to come out with a white dial watch. I'm just gonna throw this out here. This is gonna upset a lot of people. Also, hold on. Let me lower this camera a little bit. Who set this up?
I did, Papa. I set it up. I set up the camera too high to make the time teller look like a little manlet.
This is going to upset a lot of people, but if you want a white dial Rolex release that would actually be cool, Arctic Diver. Cue the oh noises. I'm just going to say that. Arctic Diver. That's right. Submariner, white dial. Call it the Arctic Diver. Dang. Rolex, send me my check, baby. Dude. Go clean the chimney. Dude, I'm telling you. That would be so cool. They released the Submariner Arctic Diver edition, and it's a white dial sub. Dude, the world would go crazy. And still, I wouldn't care, actually, because it's just a dial color variation. But still, at least that would be something interesting. So yeah, those are my 5. Number 1, sick of dial color hype. Number 2, at least give us an interesting dial color if you're going to make a big deal about it, like olive drab green. 3, Rolex has a knife. Rolex has a knife! Rolex has enough white dials, and if you want one, just get an Oyster Perpetual in white. It's pretty much the same watch as an Explorer. 4, the Explorer 2 Polar is a better watch anyway. And 5, white dial sub would be way cooler. PVD coated Explorer would be way cooler. Titanium Explorer would be way cooler. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's get into some questions. But I just wanted to knock that out at first to let you guys know where my head's at, because I don't find it interesting at all. Explorer Accutron Edition. Evan Kenny says, boom, what up, party people? Luke Walker, all been done, like America, all downhill from here. Too old to party, Evan. What about Meteorite Explorer? I would literally puke on myself. It's just not interesting. And I don't like Meteorite dials, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, let's get into some questions, shall we? Number 1, where's Sammy? She's at a bachelorette party. Uh-oh. One of her girly friends is having a bachelorette party, so she is not joining me today. Mostly harmless. Also, number 2, what's Link doing? Linky. Linky. The answer is he's sleeping. Linky. He's not in here with me. Maybe he went out to the stall. Buy a San Martin in white. I have yet to review a San Martin watch, but I would like to. Reading comments. Andy Warhol turquoise polka dot edition, disgusting watch, and not in a good way. Orange Explorer. I'm not the biggest fan of orange dial watches. I'm not a big fan of orange on watches, and that's why that and the 42mm case is exactly why I don't like the 216-570 and why I chose to purchase the 16-570, which is the 40mm red GMT hand XP2. Let's talk cars instead. Well, I'm going to be here for a few more minutes, guys, so if you want to ask me some questions, I almost had a stroke. If you want to ask me some questions, then go for it. And, you know, the crazy thing is people, inevitably in the comment section of this, people, like when this is uploaded after we finish live streaming, people are going to tell me that I don't understand why it would be so cool. Like, I don't understand. No, I think I understand. It just wouldn't be cool. And you guys are expecting the bare minimum from Rolex. And I get it. Rolex disappoints us every year, but like, it's like, come on. You have a Porsche, right? Yes, I do. Evan, no, it's not being serviced, but you will be very happy about something, Evan. That watch, I got notified after that we actually have the original box and papers for it, and I had to wait for it to the box and papers to arrive so I could have them all packaged together. I didn't want to send you the watch and then send you an empty box filled with papers after. So forgive me, but there was a little bit of delay with that watch because I wanted the original box and papers to go with the watch. But I thought that you would be happy knowing that you actually purchased a complete new old stock watch, and we didn't even list it as such. So you got it at a total steal. You still have a Porsche. Yes. It's a 911. What do you think about Cayman? The Caymans are pretty cool, man. Like, even if you're not getting, you know, like the GT4s, they still rip. I think if you can find an older Cayman R, you'll have, dude, even a Cayman S, you'll have fun. I mean, to be perfectly honest, people drive Miatas and have a blast. So even if you find just a base model Cayman, and you put some good tires on it, and you have some good wheel time, you'll have a blast. Always like the Volkswagen Cayman Gia. Is that a car worth purchasing? Dude, I don't know anything about that. Watch strap recommendations. That's a difficult one because it's highly predicated for me when I'm choosing a watch strap, whether to keep the watch on a bracelet or what strap I'm going to have the watch on. It's highly predicated on what I use the watch for, because I'm going to be perfectly honest, when I have a watch with a bracelet, I pretty much, okay, if a watch is offered with a bracelet, I almost always buy it on the bracelet. What do I do right after? Typically, after like a week of wearing it on a bracelet, I will take it off the bracelet. And I find myself just not liking bracelets all that much, even very, very comfortable ones. The SBBN 031 has arguably one of like the best bracelets in Seiko's lineup, and I still ended up because that bracelet is steel and titanium, and I still ended up removing it. Just not a huge fan of it. Luke Walker, even a modest old Boxster is fun. Just watch for the IMF bearing. Yeah, IMF bearing worries are a little bit blown, no pun intended, out of proportion. Because it depends on the year as well, but my 996, okay, which is a 911, pretty much 996s into early 997s. Those 911 models had the IMS bearing issue. And they did so because there was a class action lawsuit, okay, against Porsche because of the IMS bearing, they did, in discovery, which is like the court process of them getting information and everything, they did like, I don't know how many cars they tested, but a lot of cars, and less than 1% of the 99s had an issue with the IMS bearing. Now, it's still, I suppose, a lottery. Like, if your car ends up blowing up, then it's a 100% chance for you. But, like, life is about percentages. I had my IMS, RMS clutch done, like, within a week of me taking delivery of mine. And I recommend people should just do that for peace of mind. But, you know. Gerald, if you get a Cayenne lifted with some decent mods and stay on top of the maintenance, you're solid. Yeah, that's a cool car as well. But believe me, when I was buying the 911, I read data point after data point after data point about IMS bearing failure and what to do and blah 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 blah. And I just came to the conclusion that, like, I got the car at a steal anyway. I got it at a steal because it was who wants to hear my story about purchasing the 911? I don't know how many people I told about this. I don't think I've ever told it on my channel. I may have. I don't know if I did, though. Green for go, red for no. Okay. So, when I was in the market for buying my 911, I knew that I wanted a 996. Not only because it's fairly cost effective in regards, like, if you're getting your first 911, that's kind of, the easiest way to get into one. But also because the 996 Carrera was the car that I had on my wall. That and a Lamborghini Diablo. Now, I'm not in the position to buy a Lamborghini Diablo yet, so I was like, well, you know what? Like, I can probably get a 996 911. So I was like trolling the internet for a long time. This was during the pandemic, by the way. And I was like looking, and all I did during the pandemic was film episodes and run outside. I was running like 3 miles a day. It was insane. And so everything was closed in the city, so there wasn't much to do but just be online. And so I was looking, and I set up notifications online so that when a car gets listed, either at Bring a Trailer or whatever, I would hear about it. Every car within my parameters, which again I listed as 911s, it just wasn't right. The price wasn't right, or something was off, or whatever. And I wasn't really getting discouraged because it's not like I was in a rush to purchase the 911. It was just something that I wanted. And so randomly, I was just like, man, I don't want to wait for these notifications to pop up. So I opened my phone. I remember I was sitting on my couch in my living room, and I was like just scrolling. And I remember seeing this really, like, it looked like someone took a phone picture, but the lens was dirty. Do you know what I mean? And I remember looking and being like, what is that? It's listed as a Boxster, but I was like, that doesn't look like a Boxster. Like, that's weird. And so I open up the post and I dig deeper and I look, and there's all these pictures, and I'm like, that's not a Boxster. That's a 996 911. And I'm looking. It was some small dealership in Washington State. I live in Los Angeles, so they're, a little bit up north. And I was like, man, I don't know what to do because the price is an absolute steal. The Carfax is coming out perfectly fine. This dealer has the VIN number, so they can check on the VIN number and see that it's listed as a 911, but they listed it as a Boxster. And the price is like, it's priced as a Boxster. So it didn't really make sense to me. And I called my best friend Patrick, who I've mentioned on this channel a lot because he's kind of the reason I started this channel. He was the one that's like, hey, you should make a channel about watches. And I'm like, dude, what do I do? Because if I call the dealership and I correct them, and I'm like, hey, that's not a Boxster, that's a 911, they're going to add like $10,000 to the price. And he's like, yeah, don't tell them. Just do the deal on the Boxster. And I was like, okay. So I hired some people to go do an inspection for me. They did an inspection. They called me and they were like, oh man, the car's perfect. Like, it's perfect. And I was like, okay, cool. So I did the deal over the phone on a Porsche Boxster, and I knew what it was, and the people inspecting it knew what it was. The dealership didn't know for some reason. Sure enough, it gets, like, a week later, gets delivered here, and I'm like, oh man, it's a 911. It's not a Boxster. So for people talking about the headlights being an Achilles heel and blah blah blah, and so Evan said I don't hate it. Here's the thing, I love it, and I'm obviously biased because I own it. But I was born in '89. And the 911s that I grew up with, as far as being cognizant of, was the 996 generation. So that is, like, don't get me wrong, all the air-cooled 911s, of course, I absolutely love. My dad had some 993s when I was growing up, so I knew about all of them. But, like, the one that I had on my wall, the one that I loved, was a 996, and the headlights were so much more streamlined, you know, like aerodynamic, sleek. And I remember I was just I was just ecstatic that I was in the position to get the car that was on, you know, a poster on my wall. And so I bought the car, shows up, it's a 911. I take it to my Porsche guys here to inspect it. It's perfectly fine. And then when I was probably a week or two in, all the parts came in for an IMS RMS clutch replacement. They did that, bada bing, bada boom, and it's given me pretty much zero issues since. So yeah, I lucked out. I'm not going to say everyone's experience is going to be as streamlined as mine, but that I was very, very fortunate, and it's a cool story. So I can't believe this would never happen in Europe. Yeah, I mean, depending on where you are in Europe, I mean, America's huge, right? And we have a pretty large population, so there's going to be more cars here, which means that there's going to be more confusion. And I'm just surprised no one else called that dealership and asked, like, hey, is that a Boxster or a 911? Like, I'm happy that I was, like, perhaps one of the first people to like inquire about it, like when it showed up. I remember the Jew in me was not satisfied even with the price, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to negotiate even further. So I knocked them down like $1,500, and I was like, I think I can get them for more. And Patrick's like, do not, because like they might start digging into this and like looking up prices and realizing that they're not selling you a Boxster. And I was like, all right. Oh my God. But yeah, Evan says, I'm from a time when the 911 was actually a small car. Dude, I parked my 996 next to one of these new, 992s. It's like the 992 8 and 996. That's how big they are now. They rip. They're awesome cars, but they're very big in comparison to what 911s used to be. These new 911s. The 996, even the 997 as well. Those were kind of the last 911 sized 911s. Early Boxsters are great little cars, minimalist like older Porsches. Yeah, I honestly think that if you're trying to get into something just to have fun with, find yourself an old Boxster, do some reasonable maintenance on it, get some decent tires, and you'll have an awesome car. You don't have to get these crazy expensive Porsches to have the Porsche driving experience. I believe that. But yeah, guys, let's do a couple more questions, and then I'm going to hop off here. Yeah, the transaxle Porsches, like the 944s, the 928s, 924s. I mean, you guys know I had a 944. I actually just recently sold it, but those have a soft spot in my heart for sure. I will own another 944 in the future. I'm positive. EXO Oppo is here, guys. Subscribe to EXO Oppo. For those of you who know, I work with them. They put out some awesome content. If everyone here please leaves a comment on some EXO Oppo content, I'd really appreciate that. and it'd help us out with the work that we're doing over there. So subscribe to that channel, please, guys. But he writes, for a brief time, a bunch of years ago, I owned a late 80s 911. It was so fun. Jealous. I'm super jealous. What's a good price for a 36 two-tone Datejust? I assume you're referencing vintage, a vintage reference number. Honestly, prices have gone up substantially, but anywhere in I don't even want to say this because then I am perpetuating the price inflation. But now it seems to be, if you can get one for like high fives, high five. If you can get one in the high fives, you're doing well. Sucks though, because in 2017 you used to be able to get a two-tone 36 for like $3,600 maybe. Rob over at EXO Oppo says, my wife made me sell it. Women. Friend had a 944 turbo. Yeah, I think the next 944 I get will have to be a turbo for sure. Mine was an NA, but I think I'm going to do the Fab Speed kit, power kit, and get a turbo and just rip on it. Let's get a few more questions going, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Remember, folks, he didn't invent Porsche. He just revs them. Max Hawks, I was honestly hoping to pay 3 to 4K. Not for a 36 two-tone, unfortunately, anymore. So that's... Prices are not great. You luck out sometimes. I mean, I lucked out on my 911. There's some people that I'm sure that you can... you might be able to poach one that's undervalued. So someone bought one of my MMA gyms, defaulted, and I took their 911 as partial payment. It was a good few weeks. I have a lady friend who drives an old XJ6 daily. Those old Jags are pretty cool, actually. Valentine, I have a 2018 Cayman S. People are saying it's not a real Porsche because it's 4-cylinder. Those people are idiots. Those people are idiots. I had a 944. That was a 4-cylinder. That was still... And that had the engine in the front. I still think that was a legit Porsche. And I own a 911. And I'm here to tell you that Caymans and 944s are still Porsches for sure. What would be my Neo Vintage watch grail that can be found at a reasonable price? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Neo Vintage watch grail. Those parameters I'm confused about. LS swap the Porsche, drive the Purist, crazy joy. I would have LS swapped the 944 if I kept it. I will not be LS swapping the 911. But I do have very big plans for the 911. I have very, very big plans for the 911. I'd be happy to share them with you. Who wants to hear about my 911 build plans? We'll wrap it up with that. Green for go, red for no if you want to hear that. The engine is mid-engine. Yeah, which is it's mid-rear versus front, which is 944, and just totally rear, which is 911. Hi. Linky's here. He heard us. Christia Flanagan. What's your secret to growing your beard? Be Jewish. Okay, people, I'm going to tell you my plan for the 911 build. I'm doing... Okay, so mine's a 996 911 Mark 1. Okay? So it's different than the Mark 2. The GT3, the 996 911 GT3s that we got stateside were all Mark 2s. But I don't really like the Mark 2 headlights as much as I like the Mark 1s. So I like the way my car looks in general. But I am putting from this company that makes the what's the company's name? You know what? Let me see. Because I have it on my phone. FSH. FSH is a company that makes racing parts for Porsche. Look at this little boy. Everyone say hi to Linky. He's purring. I don't know if the mic's picking that up. FSH makes parts for like Porsche race cars. I'm getting a GT3 style GT3 RS bumper, the side skirts, and the RS wing for my 911 because we didn't get the Mark 1 GT3 here. We just didn't. So I'm buying that kit because I already did all the suspension. I did all the engine stuff. I have the GT3 buckets. I have the roll cage. I'm not making a GT3 clone. I'm not like, there's nothing that's going to say GT3 on the car because we didn't get those here. But I'm getting the bumper, side skirts, and a wing. And I am going to... This is where it's going to be very controversial. Who wants to know the last thing I'm doing? And it's taken great thought for me to decide this. Green for go, red for no. The last piece of the puzzle. Winner for chillest cat on YouTube. 4th year of the row. 4th year in a row. Linky. Okay, so this is going to be somewhat controversial. And this is what's going to get the purists angry. I'm painting the 911 speed yellow. So I enjoy the color that it is now. I've had fun with it. But I'm going to be doing like a GT3 kit with the bumper, side skirts, and wing. And it's time to just make it pop. And so I'm going to be painting it speed yellow. Which the purists will get mad because they're like, oh, how dare you paint the color? Dude, it's my car, bro. It's my car. Who cares? It's not your car. You don't like it, don't do it. But yeah, that's like my dream. And the thing is, like, could I ever buy a Mark 1 GT3 in speed yellow? Well, they didn't bring them here in the US. And I'd have to be like a gajillionaire to get one, and I'm not. So I kind of, like, in my head... Because here's the thing, right? My E36 M3, I built it to a spec that's like my dream build with the DTM adjustable wing, like down to the wheels. I built it like my dream spec. And my 911 just isn't that yet. You know what I mean? It's not like my dream 911 yet. And there's a way to make it my dream 911. It's just going to take a little bit more work for the project. But, you know, that's what's fun about cars. And my parents think it's like probably annoying that I'm always tinkering with stuff. But the truth is, like, growing up, I would beg my mom for Legos. And so she'd buy me, you know, like a Lego kit that I wanted. I'd build the kit, like, according to the instructions. I'd look at it for about 2 minutes. Then I'd take it apart and I'd build like what I wanted to build. And so I did that every time. I would beg for more Legos, and I would build whatever the thing was according to the instructions. I'd appreciate it for a second, then I'd take it apart, add those pieces to the tub, and then I'd build another thing that I wanted to build. So yeah, that's kind of that will be like the final piece of the puzzle with my 911, is to put the GT3 RS kit on it and change the color. And then I'll have a Speed 3 kind of, or I'll have like a Speed yellow Carrera with essentially a cooler aero kit. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. But thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. And I hope that you don't get too upset with me for my I don't know, bursting of bubbles when it comes to a white dial Explorer. It's just not exciting to me. It's just not exciting. I'm sorry. All right, guys, I will catch you on the next one. Tell someone you love them. Get out of your comfort zone. Tell yourself you love yourself. And I will start it off. I love you, Linky. Linky, do you love me? Tell the people out there that you love them. LT Certified Teether Route with the super chat. Thank you so much, guys. What do you think? What do you think? Okay. I'm going to jump over on the Discord, guys. LT, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Yo, LT, join us on the Discord chat. I'm going to hang out on Discord for a little bit and talk to everybody in a second. All right, guys. If you want to join the channel and get access to that Discord, it's like $4.99 a month. And we see you over there. All right, guys. I will catch you on the next one. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the time teller. Always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.